This is Shamir Galsurkar. We are very happy to have everybody who has joined us here for our third lesson. आज हमारा तीसरा lesson है. The topic is the path of suffering and the path of Torah and Mitzvot. And this topic is one of the basics when we start to study Kabbalah. And it's so important for us to understand why there is a two paths basically in our life. One is the path of suffering and one is the path of Torah. We will learn in this lesson what does it really mean, what does it mean to suffer, what does it mean to study Torah, and so on and so forth. And in this lesson, before we go ahead, we would like to do the preview of our previous lesson. As you remember, friends, that we discussed about the first of all we cleared out few of the myths जो है कबाला के बारे में कि कबाला is magic, jadoo, and what not, all of the myths that about mysticism and everything, all of those doubts which people have. But it's so important to understand that Kabbalah is not at all connected to all of these discussions, which these topics which are related usually Kabbalah with. And on the second lesson, we studied something very important, and this was the awakening of the student who wants to study Kabbalah. We understood that to for us to even start to study this wisdom, man needs to be prepared internally. And what does this internal preparation mean? So we will try to understand it via this diagram which we studied last week, and we can try to scrutinize what does it really mean to be ready. So as we discussed in our previous lesson, that we are basically in the will to receive. We are built up in this world according to our desires, and our desire is only to receive in this world. So, when we start to talk about our beginning as a human, there are certain things which we require. हम एक इच्छा प्राप्ति के जंतु है जिसके वजह से हमारे पास कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो हमें ज़रूरत है इस दुनिया में, इस ज़िंदगी में. The first thing, very simple: food, sex, family. These three things is a basic need for every person. He desires for it, he wants it, and everybody in this life come with this desire for it. This is a very simple, basic needs of every human in this world. Then slowly धीरे धीरे आदमी को फिर जब उसको ये सब चीज मिल जाती है, then he looks for something much more bigger. What does he look for? He looks for wealth. थोड़ा अच्छा जॉब मिल जाए, थोड़ा अच्छा प्रमोशन हो जाएगा, थोड़ा घर में थोड़ा पैसा आएगा, थोड़ा वेल्थ, सेविंग्स, फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी, एंड ये सब चीज़ें जो हम हमारे रोज की जो ज़रूरतें होती है. And everything is very good, people, we all work for it, we all want to attain many things in this life. Then slowly, once we have wealth, family, everything is set up. After that, then slowly, man is still unsatisfied. उसको अभी भी अंदर कुछ तो missing लगता है. When person is having everything, still he feels such a big dissatisfaction. But then slowly, the person comes to a bigger desire, and that is power. He wants to have power, he wants to have fame, he wants to grow famous, he wants to do everything to for him to have a recognition in the society. And this is how it usually works. You know, we our desires work really in a way where it's so interesting, but everybody has a, yeah, almost a plus minus the same desires, because this is how we humans are made. And it's really, we need to understand one thing, that all of this is for a reason, and everything is good. It's not that okay, it's wrong to look for power, wrong to look for wealth, and you know, all of the desires that we have. We are humans and we are made in order to receive. There is only one giver, that is the creator who gives, and we are the ones who receive. So slowly slowly तभी थोड़ा पैसा आ गया, power, fame, family, everything set up, filled. Even after that the person is not satisfied. How is it possible, you know? After having everything he's still unsatisfied. Slowly slowly the person goes into a much more bigger desire, which is knowledge. Knowledge is the one where we try to understand everything, how this world works, through science and whatnot, religion, culture, tradition, psychology, whatnot, everything that we learn, engineering, arts, commerce, everything whatever we study, in order for us to learn and attain this world. Because all the knowledge that we learn in this world is connected to this world. Then even after having this knowledge, when the person still feel empty, ये सब प्राप्त करने के बाद भी आदमी को अगर empty लगता है ना, it's a good thing. It's a good thing if a person after having everything, when he feel empty, it gives us a very important understanding that it's not the desires which are these desires not fulfilled, but it's that there is a one more desire which needs to be fulfilled. There is one more desire which needs to be fulfilled, and that desire is what we call the point in the heart. What is this point in the heart? That point when a human comes to an understanding that no matter all what he does in his life, that nothing going to satisfy him. वो कुछ भी करे, वो वो पूरा दुनिया घूम ले, थोड़ा मजा कर ले, जितना मजा करना है कर लो, he will never be satisfied, never. And then when that person come to that understanding that everything around him is not fulfilling him, that is that first point of connection of a human with spirituality. Why is that? The moment the person start to understand that, one more time, when that person understands that there is one desire which not fulfill him, that's it. Because of that, all of the things he do in this life is going to be unfulfilled. Until a person not awaken the point in the heart, he will always feel all the actions that he does in his life unsatisfactory. Why is that? In order for us to first of all even get the pleasure that we do in this life, we need to first connect to spirituality. When we connect to spirituality, we start to understand from where all of these desires come from, for desire for power, desire for knowledge, wealth, family, sex, food, everything. Where does all this desire come from? When we start to work to put an effort, an internal effort, to understand where this desire comes from, so then we will start to use it in a right way, where we can able to live a life where we will be able to receive in the proper way in order to give. And we will learn more about this. As you can see friends, हम यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं कि ये जो पॉइंट इन द हार्ट के बारे में हम जो बात कर रहे थे, तो ये जो पॉइंट इन द हार्ट जो है, is comes it is the first connection of every human with the upper force. And purposely the creator awakens in every person this upper this sensation, because that is the first point of a connection of a human with the upper force. With this connection that we has, from this point onwards, he is no longer living a subconscious reality. What I'm trying to say, friends, is something really big here. One more time, I will try to explain the fact that when we, till now in our life, are living in a subconscious reality, हम पूरी तरीके से एक सबकॉन्शियस जिंदगी जी रहे हैं. हमारे हाथ में कुछ भी नहीं है. हम खाली इस जिंदगी में आते हैं, जो भी करना है कार्य जिंदगी का करके, life is over. This is what we're doing for evolutions and evolutions, and that's how we humans are. But जब भी आदमी को एक पॉइंट इन द हार्ट कभी एक जागरूक होता है, so he is no longer living a subconscious reality. He becomes very conscious about everything that happen around him. उसको समझता है धीरे धीरे कि ये जो जिंदगी है उसका एक मतलब है, ये जो इच्छाएं जो है उसके दिल में, उसका भी एक मतलब है, और ये सब कुछ खाली ऊपर वाले से आता है. एवरीथिंग कम्स फ्रॉम अबव. And in order, and when the creator is awakening that point in the heart, it is a duty of the human to go and explore this point in the heart, to never let it go. And the reason is very simple, because creator is never going to leave you. It's very simple. The creator is going to bring you this sensation many times in life, through emptiness, through suffering, through showing different problems of life, through showing you the corrupted face of reality. The creator will never stop. सो इट इज़ बेटर जे हम, ये ऊपर वाला कभी नहीं रुकने वाला. वो उसका काम करते जाएगा और हमें हमारा काम करना है. वो है कि हमारा जो दिल का बिंदु, द पॉइंट इन द हार्ट, उससे संबंध होके हमें वो जर्नी पे जाना है. दैट जर्नी टू गो स्ट्रेट टू द क्रिएटर. इन तोरा, when we talk about Israel, Israel literally means Yashar El. Yashar El means straight to God. So the definition, when we discussing today about Israel and Judaism and Jews, and and now that we have this special time of Pesach, of Egypt and Pharaoh, you know, according to Kabbalah, the most important force is the force of Pharaoh. We need the force of Pharaoh in order for us to come out of Egypt, to go with Moshe and be to Israel. It's very simple. The same way, we need this force of the point in the heart for us to come out of Egypt. This is the best example I can give because we are in a Pesach times. And what is the special part about this point in the heart is कि इसका जो point in the heart is connected to all of your other desires. As you can see in the diagram, that this point in the heart is connected to all of your other desires of this corporeal life. Your corporeal life, which all, as we discussed about food, sex, family, wealth, power, knowledge, the point in the heart is connected to all of them. Because in order for us to live this life, this corporeal reality in the right way, we need to understand how to work with the head, the crown of the heart, which is the point in the heart. The point in the heart in Kabbalistic terms is Israel, Yeshar El, straight to God, and the points around it, the corporeal reality. This form we call it as the nations of the world. The nations literally means all the corporeal desires of our life. Because as we discussed, that all what we read in the Torah, everything that we read in the Torah is not at all talking about the stories. Of course, it is talking about the stories, about the people who went out of Egypt, who the Abraham and all of our forefathers who were big Kabbalists. But when they wrote these books, they did not write it for us to read it only as stories. They wanted us to reveal the light of the Creator in these books. Because of that, one of the main reasons that we call Zohar is the most important book of Kabbalah is because when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his students, when they wrote the book, they wrote it straight, talking about the spiritual worlds. It's the same five books of Moses, but they talk exactly straight about the spiritual worlds, because of which person is totally shown up to him. But so does all the books of Torah, Gemara, Talmud, all of it talk only about the spiritual reality. And we, every human in this world, need to connect to this reality. So we understand slowly, slowly, friends, that the more we go and try to scrutinize, now that we have this point in the heart, a person need to do certain calculations in his life. He need to live a life which give contentment to the Creator. The point in the heart is the first contact of a person with the Creator, and now we need the help of the Creator for him to help us to live our this life in a way which will give him contentment. Because हम एक इच्छा प्राप्ति है, we are one will to receive, we only receive only for ourselves in this life. We do not give, we do not have the qualities to give yet. Because of that, we only receive in this life, and we need the Creator's help to teach us how to receive in the right way in order to give him contentment. Because as we discussed in our first lesson, where we saw that the Creator is the quality of love, Creator is the quality of bestowal, and we are the quality to receive. So in order for us to be one with the Creator, we need to have the quality of the Creator, which is the quality of love, the quality of bestowal. And trust me, this is a lifelong journey. It's not easy. As it is written in the Torah, that the most difficult commandment of all is to love others as yourself. And because of that, friends, let's go to our next part of the lesson, where we see that as we discussed that there is the Creator and the creature. ऊपर वाला है और जंतु है. This is and the fact is that in this reality, these are the only two things that exist: the Creator and the creature. So when we see that, as we discussed, that Creator is a will to bestow, ऊपर वाला एक इच्छा इनायत का है, और and creature is a will to receive. हम जो जंतु है वो एक इच्छा प्राप्ति है, ऊपर वाला इनायत करता है और हम प्राप्त करते हैं, और हम ये पूरी जिंदगी खाली इसी तरीके से जीते हैं. And then we see here, as we discussed in our previous lesson, that the Creator purposely reduced himself in 125 steps, which we studied. That this 125 steps of degrees which came down from the upper world towards this lowest world, as we discussed, and this comes up to 600,000 souls. Now, first of all, we need to understand, जब हम बात कर रहे हैं 125 steps of ladder, 600,000 souls, ये सब जो है, it's not a real meaning. ये जो है, this also has spiritual roots. That doesn't mean because we're not at all relating anything to this physical reality. We're talking only about spiritual terms, about spiritual reality, which we have no sensation at all about. So when we read 125 and 600,000 souls, do not take it in a practical way, but it is just a way, a form of explaining. That's how Kabbalists have written to us in order for us to understand it. So, when the Creator reduced himself, brought down to this lowest world, we understood that this 600,000 souls which come when the point in the heart is awakened, they want to go back to the Creator. These souls which are awakened with the point in the heart, they want and they desire and they take the help of the creator to go back this ladder towards the creator, because we need to understand that this life in this world, everybody needs to go through this. There is no other way for a human to ascend himself. A human can ascend in this life through many ways, through his corporeal desires. But if a person wants to ascend himself above this life, above this world, he need to have the point in the heart, and he need to start this spiritual journey. तो पहली बात तो हम प्रश्न पूछते हैं कि क्या है ये स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी, व्हाट इज दिस स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी. दिस स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी is talking only about one thing: how we, as humans, try to awaken the Israel in us, Yashar El, that point in the heart to connect to Him, and how we use this force of the point in the heart to balance all our corporeal life. This is the only correction that we need to do. ये जिंदगी में हर एक आदमी को खाली उसका जो दिल का बिंदु है उसको इस्तेमाल करके उसको उसके पूरी जो भौतिकता की जिंदगी है, इस कॉर्पोरियल लाइफ, उसको पूरी तरीके से बैलेंस करना है. And he will be able to do it when he start to do this spiritual work of being the quality of giving, then to receive. Because we will always receive, but we need to receive in a way where we desire to give. Because we live in a reality of intentions. हम एक दुनिया में ऐसे जीते हैं जहाँ पे इरादे और इच्छाएं के हिसाब से दुनिया चलती है. और जब हम हमारे इरादे और इच्छाएं आध्यात्मिक की तरफ डालते हैं, when our thoughts and intentions are going more towards spirituality, then we bring it more and more closer towards this spiritual reality and balance our corporeal life. And this is the only way that all world will come into balance. This is the only way that the purpose of creation will be fulfilled, because I told you that there is only creator and there is only creature in this reality. There is nothing else, nothing else. So this brings us to understand that now we are understanding, okay, there is a path here, a secret path which is awakened through our secret heart. Now, in order for us to start this path, there is two ways. Before I say these two ways, एक चीज एकदम clear cut to the straight to your face, I say this to you. This is going to happen today or next life or tomorrow. Each and every human in this world needs to go through this spiritual journey. The question really is, there is only two paths to go through this journey, to be one with the creator, to be one with yourself, to be one with the world, to be one with the meaning of your life. There is the path of suffering and the path of Torah. What does it mean? The path of suffering and the path of Torah. Let's start with the path of suffering first. We need to understand कि ये जो जिंदगी है ना, इसमें we are already in the path of suffering. All our world history, you check the whole history, everything filled with war and suffering and plagues and tsunami. All our life, हमारे पूरे जिंदगी के सब problems, ये family problems, relationship problems, job problems, world problems, coronavirus problems, everything is come in the path of suffering. We already are living in the path of suffering. It's not a nice path. It's very difficult path, and it's very, very, very impossible for us I will say impossible for us to go to the path of Torah, because there is around 8 billion people in the world, and everybody is in this path of suffering right now. And we understand this when we live also in India. We know, we see the reality around us. We see that the world is not at all in the path of Torah. So we need to understand, friends, that this is the path of suffering. Because of that, we need to understand that it's very important for us consciously, because in the path of suffering we all are subconscious. आज की दुनिया में क्यों ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं, क्यों इतना वॉर चल रहा है, क्यों इतना परेशानियां चल रही है, क्यों इतना रिलेशनशिप इश्यूज चल रहा है? बिकॉज वी ऑल आर लिविंग इन अ सबकॉन्शियस रियलिटी. हम सब आंखें बंद करके ये जिंदगी जी रहे हैं और हमें पता भी नहीं चल रहा है कि हम आंखें बंद करके ये जिंदगी जी रहे हैं. That's the most funny part. But it's purposely done by the creator in order for us to awaken our point in the heart and to go above this life and to live a conscious life instead of living a subconscious life. So we need to understand that this path of suffering is going to happen eventually. And another way we can go is through the path of Torah. Path of Torah is when a person awaken his point in the heart and start his spiritual journey to do his spiritual correction, which he need to do in this life through connecting with the Creator, through studying Kabbalah, through teaching, to learning what the Kabbalists have given us, what the Kabbalists have shown to us. When that person start to work more and more on that, he understands that this is the way he will be able to connect more faster. This is, yeah, I would not call this a shortcut, because a shortcut is something, a short way to go towards God. But there is never any shortcut. There is never any shortcut in this life. But this is the way where a person can be able to be one with the Creator. This is the most important pleasure a person can ever have. As we saw today, friends, in all our desires, this point in the heart is the most important desire of all. The point in the heart, when it's awakened, this is the biggest pleasure a person can ever have, to be one with his maker, to be have the quality of his maker. ये जिंदगी में इससे ज्यादा खुशी किधर पे नहीं मिल सकती, क्योंकि तुम, तुम्हारे जो, जिसने तुम्हें बनाया है, उसके गुण को तुम इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो ये जिंदगी में. Because it's this gigs and remember us of an example of the host and the guest. The host is the creator and we are the guest. We just taking. Because we are only taking from him, we're unfulfilled, we feel shame, we feel incomplete, but we are not able to give, and this is the biggest shame of all. So, this, in the end, we need to understand, friends, that when we talk about the path of Torah, first of all, we're not talking at all about the corporeal mitzvot and Torah, which is also great if people are doing, but we're talking about the spiritual 613 mitzvot. We're talking about the spiritual Torah. Torah literally means the light which we need to receive from the Creator. Because of that, in Kabbalah it is written, Torah, Israel, in Creator is the one, is one. We need to reveal all of it together in one body. And so, because it's Pesach, so I'm going to tell you one more bonus, that we need to understand that everything that we read in the Pesach about Moshe, about Pharaoh, about Egypt, Israel, Creator, everything is inside a person. It's not outside. Pharaoh is inside me. Moshe is inside me. Creator is inside me. Israel is inside me. Egypt is inside me. Everything, all of the qualities are inside me. This brings us to an understanding when it's written in the Torah that every person is a world in itself. All of these stories. So I would suggest everybody as a homework, try not to only understand the story of the Pesach, which is very important, but try to understand the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu wrote this in the Torah, the reason why we need to reveal the spiritual secrets behind this whole story, because we want to reveal the spiritual story of Pesach, which is inside us, which is between us. which is when we awaken the point in the heart and reveal the creator. So we are coming to the end of our lesson, friends. I'm so grateful to have you all here, and next lesson we will be meeting next Sunday at 12:45 p.m. India time, and I'm really looking forward to see you all. Thank you so much. See you soon.